Hello, and welcome to the session on psychology of color. My name is April Miller, and I am the Access and Outreach Services Librarian here at Al Harris Library. Today, we will be talking a lot about color and all the different meanings that it has. So let me share my screen and we'll get started. All right. See if it'll go. So, color is vital to the human experience. Through color, we feel, we communicate, and we heal. Those in advertising use it to sell products. Those in schools and offices use it to increase productivity. When it comes to communication, color is unbeatable. Unconscious or otherwise, color can evoke emotions, encourage reactions, and transform ways of thinking. It can excite or calm your mood. It can raise or lower your blood pressure and even whet your appetite. Whether it is innate or learned, it is indisputable that color has a vital influence on how we go about our lives. Modern day researchers study color psychology across cultures because they affect the people's expressions of feelings and emotions by attaching meanings to different colors. In the same manner, businesses likewise use color psychology in order to effectively deliver specific messages to target consumers and evoke emotional responses. So, while it is true that certain colors can influence people's choices, color affects the brain's emotion sensors in multiple ways, whether it be to call attention to something, inspire emotions about something, give assurance, or tap into one's memories. Color is powerful. They evoke various emotions and beliefs, as well as positive and negative connotations. A color may represent happiness and warmth in one culture, but is associated with jealousy in another. The psychology of color, however, is not simple. Color psychology is more than just one sentence explanations of what each color represents. The statement yellow represents creativity and happiness is not exactly color psychology. It's a generalized association. In all actuality, yellow can have diverse meanings depending on how it is used, what color is used with it, and what tone of yellow is used. Yellow is not always happy and creative. Sometimes it's sickly and pale. It all depends on the shade. The yellow in the example is bold. It catches your attention and makes you feel empowered. Combining this yellow with an image of a roaring lion makes an even stronger impression. To better understand why using the right colors is so important in design, it's best to first learn the basics. On the following slides, we will discuss an explanation of what color psychology is, how it can affect moods, behaviors, and reactions, and the psychology of individual colors. Color psychology is marketing design is primarily based on how people feel about color. And that comes from how they're experienced color as a child and during the transition into adulthood. Overall, it explains how colors can impact human emotions, behaviors, and perceptions, and how different shades and tones can affect moods and reactions. When born, humans only see black, white, and gray. At around 5 weeks, the first color a baby will see is red. They will develop color vision slowly until about the age of 5 months when they can finally perceive all the colors. It is then that color starts to have meaning at this young age. Just as the color becomes associated with fire trucks, the same is true for how The color yellow becomes associated with the sun, and green with trees. These initial color associations form the foundations for everything color psychology is about. Have you ever thought about how much power a single color holds? The right color can make people trust your brand, feel excited, or even crave your product. That's the magic of color psychology, using colors to influence emotions and decisions. This concept is especially important in logo design, where the right color can define your brand identity and resonate with your audience. But here's the tricky part. Colors mean different things in different cultures. What works in one country might send the wrong message in another. So, how do you create designs that work everywhere? By understanding how color psychology and culture go hand in hand. Let's dive into how to use the meaning of colors to make your designs go global. The first perceptions of color are inherent in every culture. In the US, pink is associated with princesses and ballet dancers, while in Japan, pink is associated with men. In Latin America, it's a symbol of architecture, and in South Korea, it represents trust. Being aware of these slight differences can help you better adapt your design endeavors. In Western cultures, red is seen as powerful. It emits strong emotions, whether that be love or anger. In India, red is seen as a color of purity, which is why most wedding dresses in India are red. In China, red represents luck and happiness. In Western cultures, blue denotes safety and trust. The color is commonly associated with masculinity and projects authority, loyalty, and security. Blue is one of the most commonly used colors in American marketing, often considered a safe color for a global audience because it lacks significant negative connotations. Blue is tied to immortality, spirituality, and heaven in Eastern cultures. And in Hinduism, the color is associated with Krishna, who embodies love and divine joy. With their strong Catholic population, Latin America cultures also associate blue with religion because blue is the color of the Virgin Mary's mantle. It can, however, also be associated with mourning. In Western countries, green often related to the environment, progress, and luck. The color is safe and healthy and promoting growth and legacy or longevity. However, green brings up negative connotations in Indonesia, where it is regarded as a forbidden color, representing exorcism and infidelity. In China, green can indicate infidelity, where the expression wearing a green hat means a man is being cheated on by his wife. No self respecting man wears a green hat in China. Green is the national color of Mexico, where it stands for independence and patriotism. In South America, however, green is the color of death. The color also has strong associations with Islam, and green is currently used in several national flags as a symbol of that religion. Orange represents autumn, warmth, and harvest in Western cultures. However, in the Middle East, it is associated with mourning and loss. Many Eastern countries link orange to love, happiness, and good health. In India, cultures orange, specifically the yellow-orange hue, is considered sacred. For the Japanese, orange symbolizes love, courage, and happiness. Yellow is a bright, cheery color associated with happiness, optimism, and warmth in the United States. However, yellow is also has an array of negative connotations in other parts of the globe. In Egypt and much of Latin America, the color is linked to death and mourning. For Germans, yellow symbolizes envy and jealousy. Golden yellow hues are associated with money, status, and material successes in many countries. In certain African countries, the color is worn only by those who rank highly in society due to its connection with money and success. Black evokes sophistication, elegance, and power in the US, where it's often used by luxury brands. In Latin America, the color is linked with masculinity, and black is often worn by men. Black is also associated with mourning in many cultures. It's likewise associated with mystery, bad luck, like the black cat, illness, fierceness, magic, mourning, evil, and death. Black is a symbol of masculinity, maturity, and age in Africa. The color represents rebirth and mourning in the Middle East. While white is associated with weddings, purity, and cleanliness in the Western society, however, the color represents death and mourning and humility in many Asian cultures and is seen as bad luck, so it is only worn for funerals. So, some color perceptions are universal. For example, the white lab coat effect. This color effect describes how most people feel secure and better cared for when a doctor is wearing a white lab coat. And this is global. This is not just in the United States. Color psychology is everywhere, shaping how we experience the world and interact with brands. Let's explore some common examples of how colors are used strategically. In fast food chains, red and yellow are staples in fast food branding with chains like McDonald's and KFC, using them to stimulate appetite and create energy. Red triggers hunger and urgency, while yellow adds a sense of friendliness and warmth, encouraging quick dining experiences. And you'll find red and yellow in logos like McDonald's, Burger King, In-N-Out Burger, red in KFC. If you'll think about it, there's a lot of different logos that use red or yellow. Tech companies. So, with tech companies, many tech brands like Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn use blue in their logos and designs. Blue conveys trust, stability, and professionalism, key for platforms where people connect and share personal information. And there's also several computer companies like Dell and IBM and Samsung that all use blue in their logos. High-end brands like Chanel and Gucci often use black in their branding. Black signifies sophistication, power, and exclusivity, aligning perfectly with the luxury market. So we also have others like Versace and Jaguar and Cartier, Coach. All of these use black because they are wanting to appear to those that are looking for more luxury. Tips for designing with cultural sensitivity. So, when you're designing for an international audience, here are some helpful hints to avoid cultural misunderstandings. First would be to do your research. Ensure you understand how colors are perceived in the cultures you're designing for. You want to avoid assumptions. Colors have different meanings, so don't assume they mean the same everywhere. You want to get feedback. If you're unsure, test your design with people from the target culture to see how they react. Do not be afraid to ask questions. Do not be afraid to ask for help. You do not want to have an issue where you accidentally insult someone just because you used the wrong color. And if all else fails, go for neutral. If you're unsure what color means, neutral colors like blue or gray are safe choices for broad audience. So, the role of color in branding and business design, if you think about it, everything revolves around color. Color is a powerful tool in branding, shaping how your business is seen and remembered. The colors you choose for your brand can communicate how much your brand identity and personality and what you want customers to feel when interacting your brand. When used consistently, color makes your brand stand out and helps customers instantly recognize it. Here's how color benefits your brand. So, color shapes brand identity and recognition. Using the same colors across your logo, website, and marketing materials builds your brand's identity. Take a moment to think about popular brands, and you'll realize their colors are often the first thing you notice. Over time, these color choices become as crucial as the brand itself, helping customers recognize and feel connected to what your business represents. So, you just want to keep thinking about these things and working on them and going over all of how this works and seeing how they benefit you. So, we're going to look at some famous logos now and talk about um, how instantly recognizable they are. So, a lot of times it's because of their unique color choices. Um, you immediately recognize the Coca-Cola brand. It's always red and white. They do that on purpose. Everything about them is red and white. Um, you recognize the Amazon with the little orangish yellow, golden yellow arrow. Um, it basically choosing the orange, they kind of went with a color that would not offend globally by picking orange. There's not really orange is kind of a safe, warm color, warm tone. Um, but they also use black, which is kind of a luxury color. Nike uses black and white a lot, or white and black, trying to once again hit those. Not always, but there's a lot of things about Nike that hits the luxury market. Um, Apple is a tech company, but they also do a lot with the luxury market of how high end they are with their MacBooks and things like that. We've talked about how McDonald's uses red and yellow to inspire, um, to make you hungry, make you want to go there, things like that. But you immediately recognize the golden arches and you know where that's McDonald's. Some other famous logos. Um, the Toyota logo is not always red, but once again, you do recognize the circular T's. Target is a Target. It's pretty standard. It's you recognize the red bullseye. Um, the green mermaid. Everybody knows Starbucks. Um, Pepsi's red, white, and blue logo is very recognizable. Google's logo, once again, with their colors and how it does change because they do a lot of, but this is their standard logo. Now, what they show on their website does change sometimes when they do themes and things like that, but this is their standard brand logo. Um, and they kind of chose different colors as to not offend, but it's a global company as well. They have more blue, they have the reds, They have yellow and green. They have a variety of colors. But you instantly recognize that. You know that that's Google. Even if it would have said something else, but it would have been in those colors, you would have recognized that as Google. So, some best practices when you're designing for a global audience. It's essential to consider how different cultures might view your design. What works in one country might not be received the same in another. To make sure your design appeals to everyone, here's some simple tips to keep in mind. Be aware of color meanings. Colors can mean different things in different cultures. Remember, white can represent purity in some places, but sadness in others. Make sure your color choices work for your audience. Use simple and clear images. Stick to symbols or images that are easy to understand and avoid ones that might have specific meanings in certain cultures. Keep your text simple. If your design includes text, make sure it's easy to translate and doesn't rely on slang or phrases that might not make sense in other languages. The English language has so much slang and so many specialty words. It's not even funny. We create so many words that make language so difficult. It's terrible. Check out local trends. Every region has a design preference, so research local styles to ensure your design resonates with people from different countries. Test your designs before launching. Get feedback from people in different regions to ensure your design works everywhere. And pick readable fonts. Some may not look bad in other languages or devices. Choose clean, readable fonts that work well across all languages. In conclusion, I just want to state that colors influence how people feel about the brand. When designing for a global audience, it's essential to consider how colors and designs seem in different cultures. So it's very important to think about the psychology of color and really think about what the colors you're using mean and what your audience that you're working for is and who they are and where your product is going. So thank you. Please feel free to ask any questions. I've included my email address here. I'm very happy to answer any questions that you might have. Um, you could also contact me through Canvas, but I don't always get the messages in Canvas that I'm supposed to get. They sometimes get lost in the ether. So it's always best to email me directly. Um, but you can always contact me on either one, but I prefer email because I know for sure I get those. Um, and then here's my work cited. There's the articles are there for you, and I will have the PowerPoint uploaded so that you can view the PowerPoint yourself and you'll be able to see all the articles that I read to create this. So stop sharing. No, stop sharing. All right. So there is a assignment that goes with psychology of color. It should not be very difficult. It should not take you very long. Basically, what you need to do is it's going to be uploaded and included. I just want to review it for you. You're going to pick 3 colors. You are going to give me the color meanings, write 2 to 3 sentences about its common psychological meanings, the emotions, the mood, the symbolism. Um, a lot of it we talked about in the PowerPoint. The second part of my presentation, there's also further information that you can use. Um, so uh, there's also that. Um, you're going to talk about cultural differences. And then you're going to do a reflection, which is basically just a short paragraph 5 to 6 sentences that kinda tells me how you personally view these colors and how your cultural experiences led to that view. There is a example that will be included so you can see what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a lot. It's a really easy assignment. I don't expect you guys to have any trouble with it. Um, if you do, please do not hesitate to reach out to me and I will be gladly help you. But that's your assignment for this. I believe she said that it would be due in a week, that you have a week for this assignment. But she'll post everything for you. So uh just watch for those due dates. Thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to reach out if you do have any questions. So have a good day.